In sports entertainment, everyone has an amazing story. This is ILN Sports Documentary Series.
Professional wrestling has always been my dream. I just didn't know how to pursue my dream.
It's how to make my mark in this industry. And I get stiff, once again, by politics. I got women loving me, children asking for autographs. I'm sick and tired of putting my body on the line, day in, day out, for promotions and promoters who don't respect my talent.
This is the story of me, Noah Mendez. Growing up as a kid, grew up in a single-parent household, really no mother, no father. Grandmother pretty much raised me. Grew up with a mom with a substance abuse problem, same as my dad, and wasn't a lot of love to go around. A lot of yelling, a lot of regrets. Being in a single-parent household, being raised by my grandmother at the time, she introduced me to wrestling, I believe, when I was around 3. I know that we have a picture, in the house with me jumping off the dresser with my action buddy, trying to be a professional wrestler. As I got older, I knew that it phased out a little bit. When I was older, I got into a car accident, and I told myself one day while I was moping around, how about I try this professional wrestling thing? And that's when I got in contact with World of Unpredictable Wrestling, owned and operated by 1996 WWE Hall of Famer Johnny Rodz. Well, anybody that knows Johnny Rodz, that he trained a lot of talent. Tommy Dreamer, Taz, Matt Striker, Damian Demento, the list goes on and on. Some of the guys that came out of there while I started was Big Cass, Mae Young participant, Marty Bell, Stephen Pena, Ultimate Security, Monty Labels, Karen Q, just to name a few. Being at Johnny Rodz for so long, I felt like there was no room to grow. I felt like I reached my potential there, or what they thought my potential was there. So I made the adult decision to actually leave and try to make it on my own. Coming out of Johnny Rodz, I tried to prove to myself as well as others that I was ready to move on and be on my own 2 feet. I wasn't at my home base anymore, didn't have the backing of what I was used to. So I got in contact with a company and a promotion called New Generation Wrestling. And I was scheduled to wrestle that night, and from the moment I got there, it just felt like the aura was off. I go out there and I do my thing, and in a blink of an eye, I hear a pop in my spine over a simple move, and I felt like my life flashed before my eyes. Well, after being injured, I took some time off. I'm told that I could possibly never wrestle again, and doctors telling me that I might need physical therapy and acupuncture and all these different things that'll get my back to its normal self. It's not even about the business itself. It's about the friendships that you make in the business. It's about the people that actually care about you, care about your well-being, care about how you're doing, how your family's doing. If you have kids, little brothers, little sisters, niece, nephews, very family oriented. Here's the history lesson of the day. If it wasn't for Buddy Rogers, it wouldn't be the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Without Ric Flair, it wouldn't be the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And if it wasn't for the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, it wouldn't be the future Noah Mendez. You try to be a legacy. My passion, it comes from one.
So when I was younger, I used to watch the Channel 9 show that used to come on around 11:30 at night with my dad. We used to watch my uncle coming out. Baron Mikel Cicluna was like the most awesome thing in the world, because being a Maltese kid growing up in New York City, in Queens, where it was like Queens is the most diverse neighborhood in the world, and you have people from all over the world there, and being Maltese was kind of obscure. And when I would tell people like I'm Maltese, they would be like, what, like a Maltese dog? Like, I said, no, from the island Malta, what, like Malta Goya? And I was like, no, like the wrestler Baron Mikel Cicluna from the island Malta. Oh yeah, the Baron. And then now that would finally be something that I would say that would at least familiarize people with Malta. And so it was something that I was proud of. It's pretty cool to turn on the TV and you watch your uncle. And then when he used to come in to Madison Square Garden to perform, he used to get us tickets. And then afterwards he'd be on the ramp walking back, and my dad would tap him on the shoulder and he'd bring us into the back, and we would meet like all the legends at the time. People from like Bob Backlund, the Samoans, the Moondogs, Don Morocco, the Strongbows, and Andre the Giant, and people of that nature. And it was amazing to be in the back and be a part of that. So that was really what got my interest. And the thing about it, like, not like today we live in a soft core world, with a lot of snowflakes, and people are kind of like soft. They get their feelings hurt easy. If you get spanked by your parents, you could throw your parents in jail. But as far as we knew, that was discipline. As in my generation growing up, it made us stronger for it. So when I used to be up past my bedtime at 11:30, I used to have to take my spank first before I watched the wrestling. That's how I used to put myself through that to watch wrestling, because I loved it so much. And then as I started getting older, I just started growing big and bigger and bigger, and people actually would stop me on the street and ask me if I was a professional wrestler even before I even started wrestling. I remember when the Doghouse opened up in Ozone Park. I was like, wow, finally a wrestling place in the area in Queens where I'm from, make it a little bit feasible for me to go and train, And so I went down to the Doghouse. At that time we had guys in there like, Low Key, Homicide, Spanish Angel, all kinds of people at that time. Skull Von Crush, who ended up being Big Vito in ECW and WWE, Monster Mac, and Dan Moff, the Hit Squad, and Big Slugger, and guys like that were in our class. We won't forget Lathan. Lathan was a big part of the Doghouse in the beginning. You know, these days a lot of people like to forget about him. But anyway, he was a big part of it. And it was run by a gentleman named Bobby Lombardi. And I learned how to take my bumps and like learn my initial stuff there. I had a couple of shows with them, and then my dad called my uncle in Pittsburgh, Barry Mikel Cicluna, and I asked if I can go and stay with him for a while. I learned the craft directly from my idol, you know, the master. 1996 Hall of Famer. He got inducted with the unpredictable Johnny Rods and Tito Santana. He was one of the first to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he's revered as one of the great heels of all time. Yeah, I had a lot of great opportunities, worked with a lot of great people, a lot of great companies. I'm really proud to say that I worked with Nelson Frazier, known as Viscera and Big Daddy V. You know, we had a couple of table matches one-on-one against each other. Then we became a tag team called Purgatory. Proud to say that I've fought, you know, people and had angles with people the likes of Shad, the Beast Gaspard, Charlie Haas, Just Incredible, who I beat for the WPW Empire State Championship and Resort World Casino in like 4 minutes. And just like, I don't know, just tons and tons of people throughout the years. You know, the Musketeer, Kamala, the Ugandan Giant. Now that's one of these characters that I really loved in professional wrestling, you know, because he was like, people didn't know, was he a real savage from Africa? He didn't understand that he was pinning the guys the wrong way. I just loved the character, I loved the gimmick, and I loved the sheer mass and size of the guy was awesome. You know, so I battled a lot of the big guys in the business, you know, and you know, I pride myself on being one of the biggest obstacles in the Northeast of America that people have to face against. You crazy? When you're stepping in the ring, you're going against me, the monster, Malta the Damager. Run for your life.
I think Malta might be the international champion for life.
Crazy, I've been wrestling so long, I feel great. I'm still strong as anything, strong as a bull, ready to go and wear these 20-year-olds down as fast as they can come into the ring. That's how fast as I'll be putting them through it. But, you know, it was like almost an organic process now that I've been getting in the acting world. I was just doing like my 12th film now, and I was lucky enough to score a major role for a huge production called American Brawler, where I'm portraying Andre the Giant fighting Chuck Wepner in Shea Stadium in 1976. Now, Chuck Wepner was the fighter known as the Bayonne Bleeder that inspired the Rocky movies. And just like in Rocky III, when Sylvester Stallone fought Hulk Hogan, it was a reenactment of Chuck Wepner fighting Andre the Giant in Shea Stadium. It was actually promoted by Don King. It was Don King's very first large promoted event. And it was a success, and that ended up inspiring the Gorilla Monsoon Muhammad Ali thing. And then the irony, or the, not the irony, but it was almost like deja vu of the whole thing, is that my uncle was the guy fighting Gorilla Monsoon when Muhammad Ali jumped up in the audience and challenged him, and then he pouted to the back. Because McMahon knew to put somebody who he can trust in there to make it more about Muhammad Ali and Gorilla Monsoon and not try to make it about themselves. So he went in there, did what he had to do, and opened up the lane for Muhammad Ali to come in and do the thing. And just like, you know, 30 years later, here I am doing the actual movie that inspired that, portraying the Andre the Giant, somebody who, besides my uncle, is one of the biggest influences in my life growing up. The guy playing Chuck Wepner is Zach McGowan from Shameless and The 100, and also from Black Sails. They got Joe Pantoliano. They got all these guys from The Bronx Tale, from The Sopranos, from Goodfellas. It's a really, really amazing thing, an amazing opportunity. And to say that I have the largest role in the movie is not an understatement, because I'm Andre the Giant in that movie, and believe me, every move is identical to what he did, and it was awesome. A blessing. See, I don't care who you are. I'm Malta the Damager. I'm the Galactus of pro wrestling, and this is my story.